Hi guys, so in this video I'll be showing you how to scap and Stig. The great part about this is you can actually follow along with this video. I've created a lab environment where I've set up a Windows 2019 server and a Windows 10 client all in a simulated enterprise domain. So you'll be able to completely follow along with this tutorial. I'll provide a link to two videos that will help you set up the lab environment. And once you've set it up, you can go ahead and follow these instructions for how to scap and Stig. So the first thing I'm going to do is just type in DISA Cyber Exchange, and that should pull up the public cyber.mil. I'll go ahead and click on that. I'll also provide a link to this in the description of this video. And better yet, you can actually check out my website where it will provide you step-by-step instructions. So if you prefer to continue watching this video, please do so. Otherwise, if you want the step-by-step instructions in website format, you can go ahead and follow that link where I also have this video posted as well. So first thing I'm gonna do is click here, and that should allow me to reach the logon page here. Or actually, there shouldn't be a login page. I should be able to just see the public cyber.mil website. Although there is an option to log in with the CAC, we will not be utilizing that page. I'm going to go ahead and expand it out a little bit. There we go. That way I can see the menu on the left. Okay, and then here you can see a few tabs. The SCAP, the Security Content Automation Protocol, can be used to automate the Stigging process. And so we'll be utilizing that to save some time. However, you can do it manually, and I'll show you how to do it manually as well. So what we'll do is we'll click on Stig and SRG tools and viewing guidance. And you'll see the Stig viewing tools. And so you have the XCCDF format. SRGs and Stigs are intended to be ingested into a SCAP validation tool for use in validating compliance of a target of evaluation, TOE. As such, getting to the content of an XCCDF format Stig to read and understand the content is not as easy as opening a doc or PDF file and reading it. The process can be a little bit more confusing, and trying below are tools which can be used to view the Stig and white paper describing the Stig viewing process. So DISA has released a standalone version of the Stig viewer for the Windows and Linux platforms. And if we just scroll through here, you can go ahead and download it. So since we're utilizing a Windows 10 machine here, I'll go ahead and download it right here for Windows 64, and I should be able to download a zip file. We will be utilizing the Stig viewer. So go ahead and download that now. As you can see, I didn't have to log in with a CAC in order to download this. So you should be able to download this, and in the future that may change. But as of May 23rd, 2023, I'm able to do that. So give it a second. By the way, if you followed my video on how to set up the lab, your lab will have access to the internet because we have two interfaces, one connected to our domain and then the other one connected to the internet. All right, so I'll click here on this little file icon, and that should bring up the folder, and it looks like it's in my downloads folder right now. All right, so we have the Stig viewer. That sounds great. Let's go ahead and see what else we'll need. Okay, and next we'll click on group policy. So we'll just read through this a little bit here. The group policy provides an infrastructure for centralized configuration management for Windows operating systems and applications that run on operating systems. Group policies are a collection of settings that define what system will look like and how it will behave for a defined group of computers or users. GPOs are used within Active Directory to configure systems in accordance with the security technical implementation guides. Benefits of using GPOs are time and cost savings, centralized location for all configurations, increased productivity, enhanced security, and standardization. This package is to be used to assist administrators implementing Stig settings within their environment. The administrator must fully test GPOs in a test environment prior to live production deployment. The GPOs provided contain most applicable GPO Stig settings contained in Stig files. This package contains ADMX template files, GPO backup exports, GPO reports, and the WMI filter exports and Stig checklist files. It is to be provided enterprise administrators, the supporting GPOs and related files to aid them in the deployment of GPOs within their enterprise to meet Stig requirements. And then you have a README file as well. And then also it provides you some caution there. You want to make sure that you test these before deploying them to a production environment. All right. And here we can actually download the latest GPOs. And so we'll just start downloading everything that we need. So that's downloading. We'll give that a second. Okay, so after you've downloaded the SRG Stig library compilation here, that will take a while, but just go ahead and download that library. We're going to download something else. So under automation, you see the Scap. We'll go ahead and click on that. And when we click on this, should bring us to this page here. You can see you can actually download the Scap benchmarks. So let's go ahead and grab Windows 10 benchmark here. So you can see I just typed Windows here in the search bar and then it brought out the Microsoft Windows 10 Stig benchmark. You can see that it was last updated on May 5th, so it's the most up-to-date one there. And we'll go ahead and click here. You also sign up for notifications. You'll know exactly when they're going to release or when they have released the latest benchmarks. So we can see that the benchmarks are here in the downloads folder. Click here. And if I expand that out, you can see we have the Scap benchmarks. So great. Okay, and then within the documents library, you can just type Windows here, and you'll see the Windows 10 Stig version 2. We'll go ahead and click on that. And we'll see if it downloads anything. Should. Yeah, looks like in this process of downloading that. Okay, great. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is download the Microsoft local group policy object utility. So you can just type in Microsoft LGPO and we'll click on that first link there and just give it 1 second. It'll take a second to load. All right, and here we have the tool there. We can go ahead and download that. And we'll download the lgpo.zip there. Okay, so after you do that, click next, and then just give it a second to download there. Okay, it looks like that finished downloading. I'm just going to go ahead and go to the folder path for that. And once I go there, what we can do is we can go ahead and close out of our browser at this point because, you know, browsers do use up a lot of processing. So next thing we're going to do is just copy all of this to another file location. We'll go ahead and just open up another file explorer here, and I'm just going to move that those zip folders to another location here. So if you click on this PC, you'll see the local disk. We'll go ahead and click on that. We'll add a folder here. We'll call it Stig /tools. All right. And then from there, what we'll do is we will go ahead and just grab these folders here and drop them over to this location. So I'll click move here. Once we've moved them, we'll go ahead and start unzipping these folders. So we'll just click extract all, extract all. All right, so that's extracted. We'll go to the next one, extract it as well. Another thing we're gonna have to do is before we start applying any of the group policies, we will need to back up our VM because I do plan to use this VM in the future for other labs, and I don't want those configurations to prevent me from doing other labs. So it's always a good idea to back up your VMs before you start making major changes to them. You can see this one's taking 8 minutes, so I'll go ahead and pause the video. All right, so next we have the GPO package for April. I'm gonna go ahead and extract that one as well. This one also looks like it's gonna take a minute, so I'll pause the video. Okay, so that's finished. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. We got our Stig viewer, which is definitely gonna be needed. I'll go ahead and extract that. And we have extracted a little bit too much, but even if we extract something we may not completely use, we will talk a little bit about it. Okay, so the Stig viewer is now extracted there. Another thing I want to go over is, let me just type in WinVer, Windows version. You can see that I'm using a enterprise version of Windows here. This is a trial. This is a lab that I have created, and I provided links below so you can create the exact lab, which, believe me, this is an amazing lab. Like the fact that I'm able to go on the internet, I'm able to experiment with this. I was able to do some penetration testing on this lab environment with my server and a Kali Linux box. Also, you can see I have some Python scripts here. I was able to do some Python labs as well. So altogether, this is pretty awesome. I also have a separate video, and I definitely think you should watch it. It's on Nessus, how to do a Nessus scan. So if you're trying to get into cybersecurity, these are crucial skills, absolutely. And you may be asked them during interviews. I haven't had one interview where Nessus was not brought up. So it's definitely something that you want to make sure that you understand. Okay, so here we have the Windows 10 version 22H2. So I only brought this up because if you're trying to do this on your own PC and you're trying to skip the lab, creating the lab, I would not advise you to do that. That is not a good idea. You know, set up VirtualBox, set up these labs, and play around with this, because if you're planning to stick around in IT, you're definitely going to need a lab, absolutely. So that's just my recommendations. Okay, guys, and I'm sorry, we forgot to get one more thing here. So if we go to SCAP, so under automation and security content automation protocol, you can see if you scroll down to the bottom here, you have the SCAP tool. So we're going to absolutely need the SCAP tool. So guys, make sure, or girls, make sure that you install it. Okay. So let me go ahead and install it for Windows. Let me look through this and I'll see if maybe I could find it. I think it should be maybe the second one. Let's click on the second one here. Maybe the third one. There it is. So here it is for Windows. I'm going to go ahead and install it or download it. All right, it's downloading. I'm probably gonna have to extract it, move it over to my folder. So this is very important. You can see it's gonna take a minute, so I'll go ahead and pause the video. All right, so the download's done. I'm gonna go ahead and open my folder here. Should have. All right, so I have that folder. I'm just gonna close that one out. This is we'll go and go into your Stig tools. We're just gonna move this over here, and then I'm gonna extract it as well. So quite a bit of folders, guys. All right, this one's a little quicker. There's not as much content in the folder. So we'll just give this a second. All right, so here it is. We're gonna go ahead and dig into this folder a little bit. You can see they have a SEC setup tool here. We can go ahead and just click on that. And that should allow us to install this. Click on more info, and we're gonna run it anyways. All right, accept. We'll read through this entire thing, just plain. All right, and from here, we'll just go ahead and click next. Install SEC service. And for this portion, sure, why not? Next, next. Create a desktop shortcut, yes, please. Install, and it's beginning the install. All right, so I will pause the video and let this finish installing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and click finish. And once we click on that little desktop icon, we should be able to see it. And at this point, we can close out of this site. So there's the Scap compliance checker. Let's double click on it. It should start it up. And just give it a second. It may take a second to start up there. Let's go ahead and just close this out. This over here, minimize this. Okay, so I received this prompt for new features. Sounds great. I click OK, and it's loading. Okay, so we won't use the Stigs here. We'll go ahead and just install the ones that we have most recently downloaded from DISA. So I'll go ahead and get those loaded here. All right, so I just deselected those, and then I'm gonna click install here, and then we're gonna choose the file. So we're choosing the scat file. So I'm gonna go to this PC. We're gonna go to our C drive here, and we can see we have our Stig tools. We will go ahead and grab the Windows 10 benchmarks, and you can see this one says Scap, so that's the one we want. We're gonna go ahead and open that and install. And then just give that a second to install. I'll go ahead and pause the video. All right, so you can see it is loaded and there's a check mark there. So let's go ahead and go over to options and show options. And we're just going to change a few options here. All right, and we're just going to change the custom directory here for the output files. So I'm going to click here, and you can see here it's set to administrator SEC. We'll change that, and we'll change it here, right? We'll just input Scap. All right. Scap. All right, so then I'm gonna double click on that. We'll take the path, copy it, and we'll just paste that in here. There we go. All right, and then for scanning options, attempt to download external oval, and we'll just go ahead and just uncheck that. All right, and for reporting options, we'll just set this to do not save oval results. All right, and you should be good now. You can click save. All right, and so next you just click on the Stig, and then once you click on that, you can see that it'll load the title here, Mac 1 classified environment. Do note this is just my little lab here, so we'll just go ahead and leave that as is. We won't change that, and we'll go ahead and run the scan. So let's start the scan. Make sure that's checked. Make sure you didn't check the wrong one. Of course, whichever one you just recently downloaded will be the most recent version as well, so you'll be able to see that. And we'll go ahead and start the scan. Okay. So now the scan is running. It's checking registry. It's checking numerous files within the system, and this can take a minute. So, just grab a cup of coffee, and I'll pause the video. We'll be back once it's done. Okay, well, while that's running, what I did was I just went to my Stig viewer. So the Stig viewer was a separate application that allows us to manually Stig. Scap does it automatically. And so what we're doing here is we're clicking on the Stig viewer folder here, and once I do that, it looks like my computer is frozen. It's a little too much, I guess. So what you want to do is just click on that folder and run the Stig viewer executable on the system, and you should be able to open it similar to the way that you open the Scap, right? So let me click. All right, there we go. So it's just a little latency because it's running the scan in the background. But you can see the stigviewer.exe. Double click on that. You may get a prompt. Just click options or read more about it, and then from there you can run it. Okay. Once it's run, you'll see it here. So we're going to go ahead and import the Scap results. Let's see if the Scap's finished. Nope, it's still running. So I'll go ahead and pause it, and we'll give this a little bit longer. All right, so it's finished, and we've gotten the score here is 38.03. We're going to get that up. So we can click here to view the results. And then once you click on that, you can then double click on it. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and open up a summary of it in our default web browser. So right click, open up a summary of it, and we should get the results there. Okay, looks like it's opening it up here. Give it a second to load. Right. So go ahead and check out this first link here. This up here. And we can scroll through it. Obviously, this is not a great score, so it's in the red, right? But once we run a few of those GPOs, we should be able to see a difference here. You can see the ID there, and then whatever it failed. So here, the secondary login service must be disabled on Windows 10. So it failed that one, but you can see it passed some of the findings here. So you can scroll through it, you can check that out, but let's go ahead and take a look at what a finding looks like within Stig Viewer. So we have the Scap tool open. It looks like I have two of them. Oh no, actually it's the same thing. Okay, cool. So I have my Stig Viewer here. We'll go ahead and go to File, Import Stig, and we will go here to our C drive, our Stig tools, and we should have the Windows 10 Stig benchmark, right? We have the Scap benchmark and we have the Stig benchmark. So we'll click on that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this manual Stig. And you have this file here. Go ahead and click open. And then if I click here, then it will should load. So here you can actually see a description of the vulnerability ID, right? So here it has the vulnerability ID, and then here you can actually see what that vulnerability ID entails. You can see the rule ID, the rule name, and this is very important because these systems, they have to be in compliance with the STIGs. So you may see somebody refer to the vulnerability ID, so it's a way to identify them. And if you click through them, you can read about them. For example, this one right here requires secure boot must be enabled on Windows 10, right? So This if this isn't enabled, this is a Cat 3. Cat 3s aren't as severe as, like, let's say a Cat 1. So Cat 1 is pretty severe and critical. So here you can find a description of why secure boot should be enabled, a way of checking if it's enabled, right? And in some cases, it would provide you some action to take in order to enable it, right? So that's just an example of one. You can click through the rest. We did use a Scap tool. It's completely possible that you can go through here, and some of these will actually have the commands that you can run to apply the Stig setting, right? So for example, this one looks like it has a registry that you may need to adjust. You can always put these registry paths within a notepad, and you can create a script that will apply, said rules. And that script will also, change the value name, the type, and this value as well, if you wanted to do it manually, but somewhat automatic, in a somewhat automatic fashion. That's always possible as well. But you just want to make sure that these are applied. So we'll use the GPOs to automatically apply those. I do recommend that you do take a look at a few of these just to gain an understanding of the layout. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is click checklist and then create checklist, check mark Stigs. So we'll click on that. All right. And here we can actually see the categories, so it's easier to see the Cat 1s here. There. And let's click here. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is just save this checklist. All right, so save checklist. We'll go to our folder here, Stig tools, Stig checklist. All right, click in there. And we'll just name this Windows 10. All right, save that. All right, cool. All right, next we'll go to import xccdf result file. And then from here, we'll go to this PC, C drive, Windows Stig tool, Scap output scan, sessions, keep clicking in, results, Scap, and checklist. All right, actually go back one from checklist and go into the XML. And then here you'll see the file that we want, xccdf, click open, and then just give that a second to load. Okay, a few of these aren't referenced here. Click out of that. Okay, and the ones that are red are non-compliant. You can see that's for Cat 1s. There's different categories here. If we want to learn more about that, we can open up the documentation we have. I'll go ahead and bring that up. Also, to just minimize it so I can see the pie chart better, I just click on target and that kind of expands it out for me. Oh, okay, looks like my machine is shutting down. So I'll go ahead and bring it back up and we'll continue. So although my session did crash on me, this is a very good time. I'm actually glad it crashed on me because I realized one important thing, which is We should definitely take a snapshot before we go any further and apply any GPOs. The GPOs will definitely change your configurations, which is why I said do not do this on your own PC. Make sure you're using a lab environment. Those configurations will include registry configurations. Very difficult to revert back if you're doing it on your own PC. So again, I caution you, please do not try this on your own PC. Make sure you're doing this in the lab. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to just close this out, right? Turn off the machine. And once it's turned off, you can see I actually have my Oracle VirtualBox Manager here. I'm going to create a snapshot. So you can see I have quite a bit of snapshots. And this is actually a good thing, guys. You're going to want to take a snapshot. What I like to do is I like to name it after the date, so I know exactly what day I took the snapshot. And we'll put a description here. So after, we'll just put for Stig Lab. All right, cool. So we just put that in the name. We can put that in the description as well. And I'll click OK. All right. And now I can go ahead and start it up. Also, make sure that while you're doing this lab, you have your Windows 2019 server running. This can be kind of hard if your computer doesn't have the resources needed for this lab. Recommend at least having 32 gigs of RAM with about 1 terabyte of storage, although not required. Definitely helps with the latency. So I can tell you right now, I'm not experiencing much latency, if any. However, if I started opening up maybe like 100 Chrome tabs, I'm pretty sure my computer will crash. So as long as you don't have too many things open. So if you're finding that you're having a latency issue, go ahead and close out of whatever tabs you have, except for this one, of course. All right, so we get logged in here to my little lab environment. And I'll give this a second to load for all the startups to finish processing. Okay, guys, so after logging in, I'm going to my LGPO folder here. Right, and we'll just dig in that folder a little bit more. You can see I have LGPO exe there. What we'll do is we'll open up a command prompt and we can just type in cmd and I'll right click. I'm going to open it as administrator. Just give that a second. Here we go. Okay. And I'm just going to navigate to this path. So I'm going to type cd, enter path, and it should be able to navigate us there. So now we're here in this folder. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna type out lgpo.exe space / g as in golf space quotation marks. And just to let you know, if you're having trouble seeing this, you can always change your video and change the settings, the quality of the video to a higher resolution. Recommend doing it in HD if you're having trouble seeing that. So next we're going to go ahead and go back here, and we should have the GPOs here. So yeah, we have the GPOs. Let me try to find the ones that we have for, oh, here we go, found it. So the GPO package, see we have Windows GPO package, we'll click on that. GPOs, and let's go ahead and check this out here. All right, we'll click on this first one. Those here, this first one here, this is the path we are going to want. So let me go ahead and grab this path here, copy. So GPOs and then that first one there, and go ahead and paste this in. My pasting is working. Here we go. There we go. And if you right click, it should paste it in automatically. All right, so we're going to close off the quotation, enter, and just give it a second. It'll apply group policy here. And we'll just give that a second. I'll go ahead and pause it and play it again once it's done. So it's doing it for the machine. Next, we'll do it for the user. Okay, guys, this is taking a good minute. So just take in mind, it could take a few minutes to apply. Okay, looks like that's finished. Just hit my upward arrow on the keyboard. We'll go ahead and apply the next one for users. So go back here. We'll dig into this folder here, grab the path, that second folder. All right, and we'll just delete everything after the first quote. Paste in the new path, right? So it's this one right here for the users. Paste that in, quote to end it, double quote to end it, and then press enter. And now it's applying that. So we'll give that a second. All right, so that finished. What we'll do next is we will go ahead and do a GP update /force, /force, and just give that a second. All right, so group policy has finished. You may have seen that if there is a failure, we can look into that later. But as for now, let's go ahead and open up the Scap tool here. And that one usually takes a minute to open. So go ahead and pause the video real quick. All right, so I'm gonna click on Windows 10 Stig there, and we'll go ahead and run another scan. So let's start our scan. And as usual, this is gonna take a good minute. So, we'll go ahead and pause the video and we'll be back towards once it's done. All right, guys, so it looks like it's finished. Compliance is a little bit better. Looks like we are at 90.1.4%. So we're in the green. However, there's a few things that we can do to improve our score. So let's click on the results here. And if we take a look here, you can see that we have our 90.14 average there, or percentage there, not average, but we'll go ahead and right click and open it in our default web browser. All right, so we'll give that a second to open in Edge. And we'll take a look at some of the details. All right, let's go to errors, HTML. And there we go. Let's give it a second. It's refreshing. Here we go. So if I just scroll through here, you can see there's a few settings that need to be configured here. DLP, credential guard, domain join system, must use Windows 10 Enterprise, 64-bit edition. Right. BitLocker has to be enabled. Accounts must be configured to require password expiration. So that's something we can do. Let's see. Windows PowerShell features must be disabled on the system. Got it. And account lockout duration must be configured to 15 minutes or greater. So that was a fail as well. So these are things that we can adjust and hopefully correct. These are some of the findings we could correct. So Windows telemetry must not be configured to be full. Okay. So as you see, I mean, there's just some of these findings here that have failed. All right, so let's look into them a little bit further. We'll load it into the Stig viewer. So let me go to our Stig tools. We have our Stig viewer. Cool. Actually, I think we should have a shortcut here. No, we don't. Okay, no problem. Since it's already installed, I should just be able to type in Stig viewer. Should come up. Interesting. No problem. I guess we'll just run it again. All right, and you can see it's loading. So we'll give this 1 sec to load. Click OK. There. We will load our results here. All right, and then also make sure that you open up a new checklist. So you can see, click here, create checklist, check. And then once you do that, it'll load this checklist here. So that's checklist there. Then we can import the XCCDF results, which should be a part of our latest scan that we did. Let me go back here. More. All right, I'm just gonna click here. Open scans. Yeah, and then so this is the latest one here. I'm gonna click on that. Results, Scap, XML. There it is right there. Open, and it should load them. So now we are seeing some of the findings here that are in red that we're gonna need to address. And then we could put in a comment when we've addressed them there. It looks like we have some cat twos. Let's take a look at the cat ones first here. There's one right there that needs to be addressed. All right, so here you can see we have a cat one. This is pretty severe. So cat one's direct loss of CIA confidentiality and integrity and availability. And if we read about this, attackers are constantly looking for vulnerable systems and applications, data execution prevention, DEP prevents harmful code from running in a protected memory location reserved for Windows and other programs, right? So that can stop like buffer overflows. It can assist with stopping malicious programs from running in other memory locations. And to verify a DLP is configured, open a command prompt and make sure it's running as administrator. Then you could enter the following command and it will tell you whether or not you're set to opt out for this finding. So what we can do and what we need to do is configure DLP to at least opt out. So go ahead and not suspicious BitLockers, open a command prompt, and then this is the fix, right? So this is how you fix it. So then you'll run this command here. Okay. And then here's another way you can actually also fix it as well. So we'll just run the commands because we can see what we need to check if this is a finding and what we need to do to correct the finding. So let's go ahead and copy this, open up a command prompt. I already have one open. We will just right click. And it has to be open as admin, by the way. So just make sure it's open as admin. I'm just going to copy this again because it did not copy the first time. Right click, there it is. Press enter. And it's pulling up some information here. Let's see, it's set to opt-in. So let's go ahead and change that. Next, I'll run this command here. per the Stig. Copy that. Come over here. Let me try that again. Copy. Come over here. There we go. Press enter. Operation completed successfully. Let's go ahead and see if it's correct. So I'll push the upward arrow on my keyboard, bring up the last command I ran to enumerate that, and we will check the setting. We are now set to opt out. So it looks like we are good to go here, and we can go ahead and resolve this finding. All right, and we'll just put in finding there. Okay, so DEP is set to opt out. I went ahead and just input that into the details. The status is open. We can put not a finding, and that should be good from there on out. When we run another scan, we will see that this is no longer a finding as well, but we have also documented that here for reference. Do note that if you, just scroll through here a little bit, you can see it's referenced NIST 800-53, which lists the controls that need to be implemented for the systems. And so here we may have a certain control that we aren't in compliant with, and by remediating this, we have essentially ensured that we are in compliance with those controls as well as with the STIG, and this finding is closed out. And in cybersecurity, we refer to issues, cybersecurity issues, whether that be misconfigurations or non-compliant security configurations, settings, or vulnerabilities as a finding. So that is a term that from here on out, just make sure that when you're referring to to something like this, a vulnerability or misconfiguration or something that needs to be addressed technically, that you refer to it as a finding. Okay. Okay, guys. Well, we went ahead and addressed it. One of these findings, I'd like to create a separate video where I'm going to go onto the server and try to address the other findings as well after I apply the group policy. However, this did give you a little intro into Stig and Scap, as well as what I recommend you do is watch my other video on Nessus, because that's also very important in cybersecurity. And let me go ahead and move this over here. So that was quite a lot that we did, quite a lot that we covered. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. Stig doesn't just apply to Windows, it applies to any software. So you have, if you take a look, and this is where I mentioned earlier, we were downloading some stuff and we never really touched it. But if we go to the SRG and Stig library here, you can see there's numerous softwares that have Stigs for them. So you can see Adobe Reader, pretty much any software that's authorized by the government is going to have a Stig for it. Okay, and these are requirements for them to be in compliance with them. So you see everything from switches to routers, scroll down to firewalls. So definitely, play around with this. They have some for Edge there as well, Firefox. You could probably install a trial version of Office and maybe Stig that as well. But this is actually pretty good because you're hardening the system a bit there, making it a little bit harder for a threat actor to compromise your system, to exploit a vulnerability. It may slow them down. So this is it's pretty good stuff to know. And if you're ever the blue team or for, let's say, some type of CTF, and you can always, stay your machine so that the red team isn't able to easily exploit it. That's always something that you can do as well. So yeah, in general, it's a good thing to know. So what we'll do is I'm going to close this out. All right, so we will save and close, save it here. After GPO, and I'll just name it the same, Windows 10 checklist. All right, so I save my checklist, close out of that, come over here, I'm closing out of my results. Okay, looks like I got a few prompts from previous session. I'm gonna restart it and I'm gonna show you exactly why we need to back it up, because this may be, this is gonna be the exact reason why you want to have backed it up. So I'm gonna click restart here. All right. And I'll pause the video and I'll let it play in a little bit. All right, so now I'm gonna click on input keyboard, Control Delete. And now this is new. You didn't have this before, did you? So this is the U.S. Department of Defense warning statement. Again, this is a lab environment. This is my own computer, but it is something that you're gonna see for pretty much any government system when you first log in. So, okay, log in here. This is essentially what the Stig had done. When we had run the GPOs, it applied these settings. And I'm gonna go ahead and log in here. Also, all this knowledge I'm showing you right now, it's all public knowledge. Plenty of YouTube videos out there, plenty of instructional videos and websites that will show you exactly what I've just demonstrated. This is nothing special, but it is something and a skill that's good to know in cybersecurity. So we'll give this a second. It's logging me in. And I'll show you what the desktop looks like. Okay, so you can see the desktop doesn't look much different here. By the way, I'm using a Windows 10 evaluation, and I've had this. So I initially created this lab around last August, I want to say, and I've had it since. Yes, it's past the expiration date, but everything still works. So I highly recommend that you build your own lab because they last for a while before everything starts working. Eventually this will stop working, but I haven't come across that yet. Right. So we're done, guys, with this. Highly recommend at this point that you revert your machine back to its previous settings if you plan to use it in the future, just because those Stig settings may interfere with your ability to carry out any labs in the future, right? However, I do plan on making another video where we go through and we, adjust some of the group policies here. I think that will be its own separate video on group policies. So I hope you enjoy this, and till next time. Also, if you can, please like and subscribe. I really enjoy it when you guys do that. It motivates me to create more content for you. All right, Danny out.